Well, we have a weak El Nino going on. It continues as it has been for the last few months. The ocean temperature anomaly in the Nino 3.4 region is just a little less than 1 degree C, but definitely more than half a degree, giving us our weak category. As far as the atmosphere goes, it's a little on the weak side. It hasn't been really carrying its weight as much as we'd like. The wind anomalies at low level are just a little bit westerly, but they haven't been very compelling. The one thing that is good is that the outgoing long wave radiation, the amount of thunderstorm activity in the tropical Pacific, has been stronger than average near the date line. And that's a hallmark of El Nino. And that should be enough to keep the atmospheric component pulling its weight, even in the absence of a strong wind configuration that's conducive to El Nino continuation. The models are saying that we are going to continue with the weak El Nino conditions, but they'll very gradually weaken, but won't go below the threshold, bringing us to neutral conditions until the end of the year. Now, we don't really know whether to believe these models wholesale because we're in the northern spring ENSO predictability barrier period, which means the models can't be trusted quite as much. And we've seen poor model forecasts of this very type over the last 10 years, where they say there's going to be an El Nino signal after the barrier period, which would be after June, and then it doesn't always happen. So we're cautious, but the official outlook is for weak El Nino to continue with at least a 50% chance to the fall season. And for the summer, it's more like a 65% chance. So we're not on extremely confident ground here, but we think it'll continue, and that is going to have an effect on the climate forecast. So our climate forecast does show continuation of a possibility for below average precipitation in eastern Australia, the Philippines, and Indonesia, and after the next couple of months, also northern South America. For the time being, a lot of northern South America is going contrary to what we'd expect during El Nino because of warmer than average sea surface temperature to their east in the Atlantic. But that should switch over to and cause dry conditions because of the El Nino after around June. In the US, we actually have a forecast for above normal precipitation in the Great Basin, and that's often seen in the warm season with El Nino. So that's the way things look. It's not a very strong precipitation forecast. The tilt of the odds away from the climate expectations is not very strong, but it's there. So we have this weak El Nino climate impact being forecast. So we'll see what happens. We'll check again next month to make sure the El Nino is still there and that the forecasts still say it'll continue. And that's how it looks this month.